Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today we're going to be going over 5 of the best office fragrances for men that you can buy. Each one of these fragrances is really easy to wear, easy to pull off, not offensive, and each one is a people pleaser. So that means each one of these is potentially a compliment puller as well, in case that's important to you. We've got lots to talk about. Let's jump into it. This list here today is more so for people just starting to get into fragrances that are maybe looking for some scents that they can wear to the office, not have to worry about whether people are gonna like them or not. These are all nice, clean, inoffensive fragrances. Each one of these also has a touch of class to it. So if you're a seasoned fragrance professional or a connoisseur, maybe these won't excite you all that much, but I think each one of these is awesome for the fragrance, and I've tested them out myself. All right, let's start it off with probably the most obvious one of the bunch. This one right here, Prada L'Homme. This one has iris, neroli, pepper, violet, and amber as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one has a really clean, soapy freshness to it. This one is about as inoffensive as you're ever gonna find a fragrance. The iris in here is really the main player, so it's got a really prominent floral aspect, but it's still decidedly a masculine fragrance. Prada in general is really well known for making clean fragrances, soapy fragrances. Another choice that you could wear to the office that's not officially in this list, or actually two, would be Prada Luna Rossa and Prada Amber Pour Homme. Those two would both work just as well, but this one is the most popular. This one also is gonna be the most modern of the bunch. And as far as pulling compliments, if that's important to you, this one edges out those other two by a little bit. The Prada L'Homme line is very successful, very popular. This one kickstarted it. If you want one that's very similar to this, but it's gonna work a little bit better in cooler weather, Prada L'Homme Intense is the way to go. And if you want one, again, very similar to this, because it's in the same line, but better for warm weather, check out Prada L'Homme Low. But overall, if you want just a jack of all trades that can do it all year round and be an absolutely killer, versatile office fragrance, go with the original Prada L'Homme. Next up is a fragrance from Yves Saint Laurent. It is from their Y line, and it's actually the fragrance that started that one off. It's Y Eau de Toilette, and yes, my bottle doesn't look very good. So, in case you're unaware, there should be a metal plaque right here that goes across and makes a Y right there. Yeah, it should actually look like this over here. I'll tell you what I did. I cheaped out with this one, and I bought a used bottle off of eBay. Now the fragrance is legit. This is 100% legit. It's just, it had seen better days, and the little plaque here was a little bit busted up, and eventually it just fell off. So don't be like me. Don't buy a busted up bottle. This one has ambergris along with bergamot, ginger, apple, and some aldehydes as some of the notes in the fragrance. The fragrance in this line that's most well known is Y Eau de Parfum. That one is just an absolutely killer fragrance as far as pulling attention, positive attention from people. And this one now gets overlooked a little bit because Eau de Parfum basically came in and stole the Eau de Toilette shine. But if we're talking about office-specific fragrances in the Yves Saint Laurent Y line, the Eau de Toilette is the best way to go. Most people are gonna view Y Eau de Parfum as more of like a night out fragrance, potentially a date night fragrance, or even a clubbing fragrance, something like that. It is very versatile, but it leans more toward those situations for a lot of people. This one is a little bit fresher, a little bit airier, not quite as dense, and that makes it more suitable for office wear. Yes, a lot of people will hate on this because it's part of that Yves Saint Laurent Y line, and some people don't like very popular things. But if you're looking for something that almost everyone's gonna love, check this out. Next up, a fragrance from Tom Ford, and this one's a little bit more grown up, a little bit more mature than the last couple of fragrances. It's Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. This is the Eau de Parfum. There's also an Eau de Toilette, but good luck finding that nowadays. If you buy Grey Vetiver now, it's gonna be this one. This one has vetiver, grapefruit, woods, and oak moss as some of the notes in the fragrance. I think vetiver is one of the absolute best notes for any kind of business situation, formal situation, or office situation. I absolutely love vetiver. It's super versatile depending on how it's used. It can come across dry, can come across grassy, can come across smoky, can come across green, woody, lots of different ways. In Grey Vetiver here, it's, yes, woody and maybe a little bit dry, but It sparkles and it's got a good amount of freshness from that citrus in the top. It absolutely smells grown up, sophisticated, modern, refined, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is. This one is an absolute standout office fragrance. For me, this one I would choose over the previous two selections, but I know that some people don't really like going with that woodier sort of vibe that this one gives off. So that's why we've got these other ones in here too. So there we go, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. Can't go wrong with this one. Now the next one up is from Hermes, and it is Terre d'Hermes Eau Très Fraîche. Now you could also go with the original Terre d'Hermes. That one though does seem to be a little bit more divisive. This one, a bit of a safer bet. Now the reason the original Terre d'Hermes is a little bit more divisive is it does have this kind of earthy orange aspect to it. And some people don't like that earthiness. They think that it takes away from the fragrance, and some people actually just straight up hate it. This one does not have that aspect. This one does have orange, just like the original Terre d'Hermes. There's additional citrus in here as well. There's woodiness as it dries down, a little bit of geranium in the mid also, which gives it this nice sort of nuance, this nice freshness in the mid. And where the original had that earthiness, this one replaces it with an aquatic watery note. This one retains that classiness of the original, retains that refinement, but it gets rid of that divisive earthy note. And that makes this one easier to wear and more of a safe bet as far as office fragrances go. You can wear this around countless people. Nobody's gonna be offended by this. And the versatility here is fantastic because older guys can pull this off. It still has, like I said, that sophistication from the original, but where the citrus is amped up, the earthiness is removed and that aquatic note is added, younger guys can pull it off also. All right, we are to the final fragrance, and this one is a doozy. This one absolutely perfect for office wear, and I suggest you spray this at least 12 times, at least, possibly 15. You know, if you wanna go heavier, go heavier. Nobody's gonna really think poorly of you if you do. It's this one right here, Yves Saint Laurent Kouros. In case you're unaware, I was not being serious. Don't do that. Don't do that, please. This one is an 80s powerhouse. Leather, civet. There's actually honey in here as well. There's carnation, which you saw in lots of 80s fragrances back in the day. This one's very animalic and extremely divisive. Personally, I love this fragrance. I think it's awesome. And you know, I would wear this to the office. Wouldn't spray it very much, maybe a couple, and just leave it at that. But nah, that was a goof. Don't do that. The last fragrance for real in this list is this one, Versace Pour Homme. This one has lemon, neroli, bergamot, cedar, and tonka as some of the notes in the fragrance. And for a long time, this was actually my go-to daily wear fragrance to the office because it's just so easy to pull off. It's a fantastic dumb reach fragrance, and by that I mean just something you can grab off the shelf, spray and go, never have to worry about it. It draws comparisons to Chanel Allure Homme Sport, and there's definitely a similarity there between this one and that fragrance. One of the big differences though is that this one is way more affordable because you can find this at discounters marked off heavily, whereas Chanel fragrances don't really turn up at discounters very often. Yes, this is a little bit more of a summertime fragrance, and you can tell that just by looking at it. I mean, that blue coloration, you know, obviously this is made more for high heat, but when you're in the office, it's going to be air conditioned, so it's gonna be pretty much the same temperature roundabout all year round. So that means even in the middle of winter when it's really cold outside, you can pull off a summertime fragrance and it's not gonna smell out of place. This one, I would say, out of all the fragrances here, other than maybe Yves Saint Laurent White Eau de Toilette, is the most youthful one. This one, very, very inoffensive, clean, fresh, bright, and a little bit sweet. It is, in my opinion, a perfect office fragrance. Nobody is ever going to be offended by this one. Also a compliment puller, doesn't cost that much money, and does have some similarities to a much more expensive fragrance. So there we go, 5 different fragrances that are absolutely perfect for the office. You're not going to offend anybody with these fragrances. Other than this one you could, but it's a classic. Don't hate on it, don't hate on it. They're all potential compliment pullers, and all of these are gonna have you smelling like an absolute boss. Let me know in the comments below some of your favorite office fragrances. Let me know of these 5, which one your favorite is. If I had to make a guess, in the comments, more people will say this one and this one, if I had to guess. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.